The Deep South Souls rivalry renewed.
What's up? Looking at you.
What's up? Yes. That's Dan. Down below is Keon. Welcome in, gentlemen. How are y'all?
It's been a lovely weekend.
Yeah. It's been a fun weekend.
I like the way you're talking there, Keon. Absolutely loaded show. Absolutely loaded. So we're going to try to keep this as short as possible, but there's no way to keep it too short because Saturday was absolute insanity. First things first, we're going to talk Ousmane Kromah, right? Ousmane Kromah, commits to Georgia. And then Georgia turns around, beats the shit out of Auburn, right? 31-13.
Easy on that, beat the shit out of.
Well, hold on, we'll talk more about that. But then, what a remaining night of college football. Holy cow. I know me and Keon spoke on this, and it was absolutely nuts. Dan, I want to ask you this. Before we start talking recruiting, before we start talking Deep South Souls rivalry, what are your takeaways from Saturday? Because I don't even know where I'm at right now with it.
I think we're starting to see that NIL really has shaken a lot of stuff up, right? Where, it used to be that only a few teams had the elite players or had the talent to make runs. But we're starting to see the talent is starting to be spread out. And I think Kirby has mentioned that multiple times. The depth just isn't there, right? Because a lot of these guys that were depth pieces for you are actually playing somewhere else right now. And, I think the coaching in the SEC, I think every single SEC team knows how important it is to have a really quality football coach. I think Clark Lee gets a bad rap because he's Vanderbilt. I think he's actually a really good football coach. He just doesn't have the resources that everybody else has, right? And he's got a disadvantage where they don't allow kids to get into school with lowered academic standards. So I don't know, man. There's always that. Keon, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you will. But there's always that 1 week in college football that just comes out of nowhere that just blows everybody's mind, right? I mean,
there's always that 1 week of college football that if you tell us that it's going to unfold the way it does the week before it happens, we're all going to tell you, you are on drugs. This is crazy. This is fake news, right? Shout out to the boy Donald J.
You're totally wrong. Totally wrong.
Totally
Fake
wrong.
news. Fake
news. Okay. And then it happens, and we're just like, oh, wow. Like, prime example for me, man, I woke up on Saturday, and I was like, okay, we got the Deep South Soldiers rivalry. And, yeah, the rest of this slate is probably going to be dog shit. Well, okay. The college football gods had something in store for us.
They wanted to prove a point. Coming. Keon, they wanted to prove a point and make your ass wrong.
Diamonds in the sky. All right.
Diamonds in the sky.
No, not even mad about that. Let's do this before we get started on some topics, guys. I do want to give a shout out to the brigade coming in hot. Tyree, what's going on? Chase White, Mike D, all up in the building right now. Hope everyone's having a good night, and let's get into it. First things first, guys. Before college game day even ended, Georgia got some good news. 4-star running back Ousmane Kromah commits to Georgia out of Lee County, and that was an injection of positivity towards this recruiting class. I think it could be the initiation of some heavy momentum swing with recruiting. Guys, for the longest time, we've been quiet on the recruiting front. It's been since July, if I'm not mistaken. It felt good to talk about recruiting Saturday. Not going to lie. Not going to lie about that.
Really happy about getting Kromah. I think he is an insane back, honestly. I mean, to have him in this fold with Bo Walker, gonna be real nice for the running back room to add those two. Looking forward to those two guys finishing out the season and going crazy because Kromah definitely has Walker himself as well. But I'm just really excited for those guys. Excited for the room, man. It's going to get
Yeah.
versatile.
Yeah, definitely need it. I think it's very good addition to the running back class for Josh Crawford. Shout out to Josh Crawford on this get, in my opinion, too. Those Lee County ties, I guess, paid off. And, Georgia pushed pretty hard starting in the fall. Because I know we had talked about this in July. And then right before the season started, we were talking about it. And there wasn't a lot of confidence there with Georgia at that time. So it just shows you how fast and how swift Georgia moved to convince him ultimately to be a dog. And honestly, it's one that we needed. I thought that was a need. We talked about it before with Jeremy Johnson. If Kromah did not commit to Georgia, what would we be doing, right? I think that kind of puts the door. Shane Marshall, I think Minnesota's happy. Minnesota's happy right now.
I mean, in the words of Kanye West, what would we do if we never got the commitment? I guess we'll never know. So glad that he's here. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to him being on campus. But it's huge, man.
Yeah. And then I think before we get into the Auburn recap, I do want to talk about the visits at the game. So you're looking at the big one, right? Justice Terry coming in for his official visit. CJ Wiley made an appearance there. Xavion Griffin-Haynes is another guy that we've talked about. Obviously, if you've listened to the show, you know where I stand on that. And honestly, I think there's a huge swing. Yeah, huge swing of momentum coming off that visit. I think Georgia set the bar really well. I know he's a UNC commit, but I'm definitely thinking Georgia's heavily involved right now. And they're honestly showing him a lot of attention too. So since he's been offered, you've definitely seen Georgia treat him as a priority for the 26 class. And based off of midseason film, which is starting to come out now, Dan, I know you, Mill Creek, you know what I'm talking about. All the kids start posting these midseason highlights. It's going to get interesting. Definitely going to get interesting. Well, what were y'all's takeaways from the visits, Keon? Were you surprised about CJ Wiley? Because, I mean, I know we want him with Talon Taylor, excuse me.
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised by it. I mean, honestly, he's committed to Florida State. So, I mean, his options were really go see the Dogs win or watch Clemson make Florida State bite the curb. And sounds like he made the right decision. Hopefully he ends up in the class. I think he's phenomenal talent as well. So we'll just have to stay tuned with that. Dan, how do you feel about it?
Cool. I don't know who he is, but I'm good.
CJ Wiley.
I know. Listen, I know Justice Terry. I want him. I know Xavier Griffin, the defensive end. I want him.
Elijah Griffin.
Whatever. See, that's what I'm talking about, baby. I don't even know these kids' names. When they get here, I'm all about it. I listen. I don't know every single one of them like you guys do. I know the big ones. I know some of the main targets. I know that there are some kids that cross my path that I really like. I'm out on the Walker kid, the running back. I don't like him. But you know what? Maybe he comes into Georgia and he ends up being Todd Gurley. I don't know. They obviously see something that they really like out of him. And it could have just been a really bad matchup against our high school for him.
Yeah, no, I mean, Mill Creek is a pretty damn good school, though. So,
right. Yeah.
Not bad.
One of the top teams in the state. No biggie.
I mean, I still think now, to be fair, I still think Milton and Carrollton and Mill Creek are right up there. I might be wrong, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you always, even if Buford's having a down year, they're still up there. So, yeah,
fair. You can never count them out either. You can never really count them out. But yeah, also a little bit of, I guess you could say, negative news. Stephon Shivers reopens his commitment. Kind of felt like if it did happen, there's reasons for it. I've always felt like weight would be an issue with this because Buddy is battling a weight battle. I'm not saying that is the reason why he reopened it. I am just curious to see if that means formal decommitment later down the road, things like that. But if I'm Georgia, if I'm a Georgia fan looking at this, I think, in all honesty, that kind of opens the door for potential to try to flip Kevin Wynn, the Florida State commit.
Oh, go ahead. If you want to talk about that, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dan. You had your finger.
I do have a question. So, one of the things you have to pay attention to is a lot of times when these kids open up their commitments, it's because they've been told to go look somewhere else because they need to make room. But I did have a question. I did see where there's a free safety target that is between us and Auburn, maybe.
Winter.
Eric Winter.
Is that who it is? Like it's a 4-star safety?
He's a commit. If I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
he's committed to Auburn.
Yeah, so I guess he came to Georgia, and I know sometimes they do that just so they can see the team that they're committed to. I get it. I'm not stupid. But at the same time, says that we're like in the conversation. What can you tell me about that kid? Because he looks good in the pictures I saw.
I mean, he's good. Saw some one-on-one stuff with him at a rivals camp against Taylor. But he got deep fried. But he is a good safety.
But that's also just a testament to how good I'm going to speak for me, but that's also just a testament to how good Talon Taylor is.
Agreed. But overall, I think he's a good safety, man. Honestly, and Kirby, if whether you play strong or free, you might be a player we need at that safety position. So
I'll say another name that didn't get to make it, but one to watch out for is Rashawn Dinkins, Georgia. I think he's Georgia Tech commit right now. That's someone that I'm watching for as well.
Ooh, don't know if I want Georgia Tech commits.
You say that.
Somebody got to help boost the GPA.
But no,
hey man,
we'll save that. We'll save that. We'll save that.
But overall, for Shivers, man, best of luck to the kid. I do think
he's still committed. He's still committed. He said in his post he did say he's committed. Still,
that doesn't, bro. You and I both know that's like I don't even know why you interrupted me for that. You know, when somebody is committed somewhere but reopens their commitment, we here know what that means. He's not going to be in the class.
I did it to be politically correct and no more.
Yeah, no, he's not going to be in the class.
We ain't got room for that.
Yeah, no, not today. Not today.
Not today.
Not today. We'll try again Thursday though.
Recruiting, but I digress.
Yeah, no, but
listen, look who's arguing about recruiting. I don't know shit about it. So
right? Yeah. But no, I mean, I think it's clear he's not going to end up in the class. But nevertheless, I mean, best of luck to him wherever he lands. We've seen this before with kids who have committed somewhere, and then shortly after they committed, a couple of months passed, they reopen their commitment and still tell that current fan base, "Hey, look, I'm still committed." Wait for the predictions to come out. What is it? The Fong bombs.
Yeah.
I didn't like how do you guys feel about this? Remember the old coach of Georgia Tech, and I just literally lost it.
You said
Paul
Johnson?
Yeah, his whole thing was if you verbally commit to me and then you start flirting with everybody else, he just tells you to leave. Like he just said.
That's kind of what you're saying is kind of what Dabo does almost.
Yeah, it's like I'm almost to the point where that like I wish more coaches would do that at this point. It's like don't commit if you're not ready, don't commit. But if you commit, then stay here.
I mean, that's kind of what felt like with CJ Wiley, though, because CJ Wiley, when he committed to Florida State, that screwed everybody up. Nobody was expecting that, what felt like. But he also, at the same time, said he is keeping his recruitment open publicly.
No, CJ Wiley is – I think CJ Wiley is a completely different circumstance.
No, I get it.
What does he play? What position does he
Receiver.
Play? Oh.
I think he's done at Westlake, right? No.
Is he a 5-star?
No, he's a 4-star.
Well, fuck him then. I mean, I ain't got time for that.
That's crazy.
I'm just messing. Hey, are we in on any 5-star wide receivers? I know I'm going to get hate in the comments for that, but I don't give a shit.
No.
All right. Woo! Let's go, Georgia.
Get me Ladarius on line one. Come on, bring your ass.
All right, let's talk about the football game.
Before we do that, everybody listen. We got a bunch of people watching and listening. Make sure to drop a like button, right? Smash that like button. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe, right? Do that for us. And also, if you're listening to podcasts, rate and review us real fast. Just give us 5 stars. You know what George is good for getting. Just would be preferred. But nonetheless, let's talk D South Soda's rivalry, guys. 31-13. 18-point win, but a lot of fans did not like the way that game turned out. Seems to be.
No, it's definitely understandable. I mean, we all saw Kirby speak to the media and him pretty much tell the media that he didn't feel like the environment wasn't at the top tier of which he's used to or what he expected. Also, the style of play wasn't there. Us stalling out against Auburn at home on homecoming doesn't necessarily warrant you to get the rowdy crowd that you're looking for. I do think when it comes to that, I mean, you can complain about the crowd, but I mean, these guys expect excellence, Kirby, and that's something that you've instilled in the football team that has in turn been instilled into the fan base. You can't expect greatness if you're not giving greatness. I mean, and that's just really what it comes down to. I don't care who we play. It could be UMass, okay? If you're not operating at the efficiency level that we've known to love, we've known to see, you're just not gonna get that. And then with Auburn, like nobody at that game was ever in the thought process of, oh man, we could possibly lose this. But it's like it's just it was just lackadaisical, honestly. I think the performance as a whole was the performance as a whole was lackadaisical. Like we got the win. I'm happy about that, but it wasn't what we expected it to be. We came into last weekend saying, man, it's finna be belt to ass. Did y'all see that on the field? Because I
What if
didn't.
I could argue, and it might not be. Listen, in no way, shape, or form was Saturday's performance flashy. It's obviously the opposite. However, I watched Auburn play a near perfect game in regards to turnovers. They didn't turn the ball over, and they still got beat by 18. They still got beat by 18. And I also wanted to bring this up too. I think this is something worth noting here. Jared Wilson didn't even play. So you got Drew Bowen making his first start against Auburn. And for what it's worth, I thought he did all right. I thought he did fairly good.
He did.
I thought he did fairly good. There was a couple miscommunications, right? I think there was an unacceptable 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 10 on a 3-man rush that we gave up. I went back and looked at that, and I thought he may have called a mic protection that may not have needed. But at the same time, you expect those kind of growing pains, right? I think Jared Wilson obviously is the guy, but I want to propose this by saying with Bobo there, Trevor Etienne, buddy, holy shit,
man.
Like we didn't need the super flashy stuff, but the fact that we got Trevor Etienne catching out of the backfield, making plays, making guys miss, it's a beautiful thing. Also, for any Florida fan that wants to sit here, I dare you to come try to tell me to my face that he can't pass block, because I'm gonna laugh in your face and tell you that you're stupid because you're not. I think it was just Florida. However, I do want to say this. People can talk about the execution. I want to bring this up too. People can sit there and talk about the lack of execution. I want to be here and say this. I'm not sitting here and being a Disney dog or anything like that. I did see improvement there, and I'm gonna give you examples.
Wait, was it improvement to the level of which the crowd should have been more hyped than what they
that
were.
that specifically, Keon, is beside the point of where I'm getting at.
Hold
Okay.
on, we're
For
going
now,
we're
for
going
now,
like
for now.
so deep into this game, and we haven't like. Can I like at least address the beginning of this conversation?
Go for it. Go for it. I'll keep my spot, man. Yeah.
Yeah, like so. Keon's absolutely right. Like the atmosphere was absolutely flat, but you know what? The performance was absolutely flat too. And it's like it's not just 1 or 2 weeks, or just it's not a one-off. They were flat against Alabama. They've been flat in these super slow starts. And you know what? Kirby had every right to go after the crowd, but the crowd has every right to go after Kirby because
Exactly.
they are playing like shit. It's so
They are.
They're uninspired, and this is the one thing that Saban always battled when he was at Alabama is that these kids come in and they think they've accomplished something because they are riding the coattails of what other people have done. And I think Georgia fans have every right to be pissed off. And the atmosphere sucked because the performances sucked. Now we can get into the performance. Robert, I know, wanted to talk about that. I did say that I wanted to see, and my keys to the game last week, Robert, was I wanted to see Trevor. I wanted to see ETN do something because I was really disappointed with that running back room, and we did get that. So I'll let you go to your point, but I wanted to hit that before you got so far that I had to go all the way back.
No, I got you. No, so some of the things that we've sat here and when we had our Alabama recap and we saw the things, guys, I've been talking about this specifically most of the season. Missed tackles. Keep in mind, before this past Saturday, we had 15 missed tackles against Alabama and 15 against Kentucky, 10 against Tennessee Tech. We had 7. I want to preference this. 7 missed tackles is still not the best, right? Also, the missed tackles led to bigger plays. It looks bad optics-wise. However, I did see better tackling, right? It was a little bit more consistent tackling. It wasn't perfect by any means. I'm not going to sit there and say it was perfect, but it's an improvement, right? You sit there, you've got Texas in a couple weeks. You've got some time to shore these things up, and you're going to need to. You're going to need to. But at the same time, I want to bring this up because I thought this was a glaring flaw most of the season. Execution and perimeter blocking was a big problem for me.
Man.
Right? And I'm going to give you the example that kind of led me to feel a little bit better about this. Okay? I sat there, I watched Oscar Delp, right? Go outside. This is a check down, right? This is a check down to ETN on the first drive. Checks down to ETN. Delp takes the defender. He's trying to come in, place out on his shoulder. He gets him and seals him off and pushes him past the play. That right there, in weeks past, guys, that is a missed block, a missed assignment, right? Missed a block, but he's getting tackled for a loss. Do you see what happens when you execute perimeter blocking? That check down, let ETN get outside, make a guy miss like ETN does, and you all but have a touchdown off of that. It's those types of plays right there that I felt like go unnoticed until your lack of execution bites you. If you execute that, people aren't talking about that as much. I feel like it needs to be addressed because that is a sign of improvement. We need that more consistently, right? That's a start. Now I need to see it more consistently. Which, speaking of, guys, we just have to be better, more consistent. We have been inconsistent all season. If we're consistent, I feel very confident about our chances to do what we need to do.
Yeah, no, and I definitely get that. I do agree that we have been inconsistent throughout the entire season, which, yet again, going back to my original point, which is why you're getting inconsistency out of the crowd. It all plays together because even though, and that's the thing. Like I'm not trying to be the Debbie Downer, but yeah, we're seeing improvement. Shit's still not the standard here. Guys still not operating at the level that they should be. Because that's the thing. These guys that are starting now, They got a good amount of reps last year and the year before that. So it's just like at a certain point, I mean, you gonna play to the standard or not? We're too far. We're too far along in the season. Are y'all gonna stand up or not? Right.
And it's simple stuff that we're talking about, like tackling. Like
Right.
this is the worst Georgia tackling team I've ever seen.
I haven't.
I wouldn't say ever. I would say in
the
a few
Kirby
years
era?
for sure. Oh, okay.
In the Kirby era, for sure it is.
Oh yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, like everything before Kirby doesn't matter because it doesn't exist anymore. And I'm just saying, like in the Kirby, I'm dead serious, like because that shit don't matter because the Kirby wasn't here. So now that Kirby's here, everything is to the Kirby era, right? And I don't recall a team that was this finesse. And the one thing we kept hearing about is how fast this defense was going to be. Well, that's cool if y'all fast, but if you can't tackle, it don't matter. And
you sure don't.
And I've never seen a group of defenders blow assignments this way.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the one thing that the two things you could hang your hat on with Georgia is they were going to be in the right place at the right time, and they're going to make a tackle. Now, listen, we understand the 2nd and 26, or we lost the national championship on a blown assignment. Okay, that's a one-off, right? That's one play. But I'm talking about like there are multiple plays in these games where a guy's in the wrong position, where one guy thinks his man covers, the other guy thinks it's zone. Like that never happened before. So I think it all goes down to a lack of a focus and a lack of just juice. I mean, the juice just isn't there, and I think that is the absolute hardest thing for a coach to manufacture, right? Like if you don't have it, you don't have it. And if you can't get up for an Alabama game, there's seriously something wrong with you. And I don't care what anybody else says. I watched that game. Alabama was ready to rip somebody's fucking head off when that game started, and Georgia was not. They were not. And I don't care. People will argue with you just because they like to argue, but if you had eyes and you watched the game, it wasn't there. So if Georgia can't figure out a way to fix the little issues and then also just address the overall attitude of the kids, it's just not there. And it's the first time in the Kirby era that I've really had a negative feel. Like I almost get angry before watching Georgia. Like I'm almost anticipating that I'm going to be pissed off at some point. And that's bad.
I mean, it's fundamental football, and that's something that Kirby has really prided himself on. He's really hung his hat on, is for guys to be in the right space at the right time, to make plays, to be able to make tackles, bro. Like, it seems like from what I've been watching this season, and y'all let me know, maybe I might be overreacting, maybe my eyes might be playing tricks on me. But it really does seem like if it's not a group tackle, 9 times out of 10, a kid's breaking free.
Yeah. Did you see Jeff's comment right there? He just said a lot. He just said a lot.
Which one? Sorry.
The cop comment.
Are you talking about?
Fire Beck's girlfriend. Too many private jets, Lambos, Ferraris, etc. It's a freaking college kid's really crazy. Like, I mean, I hate that, but like he's not wrong. Like he's dating an influencer. Like you think she's like, hey, you really need to focus on football?
Hey, look, I mean, I'm not just gonna put it on Beck because I do think there's been multiple situations throughout this season where Beck made the right call. He made the right read. He made the right throw. And the wide receivers, like that's if I look at the entire offense, that's one group that I'm looking at James Coley and saying, bro, you better fix this shit. Because I'm not gonna lie, if it doesn't improve, fellas, I mean we sitting ducks in the water, man.
I will say this. I saw Mike D say fire Bobo. I'm not there. And the reason why I say that is because I've seen play calling.
You're right.
I've seen enough calls that were winners, but the team just doesn't execute.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be a missed block, whether it be running a
drop,
route, drops. Those things right there, if you go back and this is why I always tell people rewatch the game and really think analytically here, because there's times where there's a play call designed, and it's a winner. It's a win. You can see it, but it's not able to get hit because of something, something that's not executing. Right? We look back at the Kentucky game. It's a perfect, obvious example. Urosic misses those blocks, guys. Instead of being back in your shadow of your own goalpost, right in your own end zone, you could be sitting there almost bumping your head on the end zone, but instead you miss a block, and it's 3rd and 15. It's not all Bobo, and
no, it's not.
I understand people want to see pizzazz, right? I understand it. It's just what we've gotten spoiled with Monken and things like that. Bobo can call winners. I see it, but it takes the team to execute. And like I said, whether it be drops, missed assignments, missed blocks, misidentifications, those things matter. And I'm telling you right now, if you're consistent, if Georgia's specifically offense, if Georgia is consistent on offense, I guarantee you, and by the way, if those plays hit, we're not sitting here talking about fire Bobo, folks. We're not.
No,
We're
but
not.
I do think like we do need to address what the issue is, and more often than not this season, it's been fucking drops. It's been guys going out there and not knowing what the fuck they need to do. It's guys blowing assignments, and that's why I keep focusing in on James Coley. Because the fact that Arian had been here for 5 or 6 years, that interception versus Bama still to this day is like.
Well, see, even then though, right? Like, it's not all Carson Beck. Carson Beck made some bad throws in the Alabama game, right? But at the same time, if you go back and watch the first drive, Buddy's dicing it, man. He is dealing it. But you're not executing because of a drop pass.
Drop passes, not knowing what you're doing when you on a screen. Like,
I hate to harp on it, but it's just to me, it's just the facts that we can't avoid right now. We have to talk about it. I don't think it's all play calling. I don't think it's all on Beck. I think it's a multitude of factors that build into the inconsistency.
What are the multitude of factors?
I mean, you've got the drops, you've got misreads, you've got misassignments.
Okay, but what's the reason for all of that?
Right.
There's an underlying.
I mean, it could be a multitude of things. I'm not at practice. I'm not. Like we sat there, we've had these discussions. I've heard people question, why is Urosic even playing what we see Saturday? There's got to be a reason. Coaches see something during practice that you would have to assume. Because if you didn't see that, why would he be on the field, right? So you got to go out there. I think you just got to want it. I don't think you've got the leadership to keep these guys focused. There's no team leadership. Who is that guy? I'm gonna ask that question for anybody listening. Who is the guy?
I think the bigger issue is, why are we still having the same old issues continue to affect the game? And what are those issues? It's the drops. It's players not knowing what they're doing.
False starts.
False starts. It's missing blocks.
We're a heavily penalized team, by the way.
Oh yeah.
However, I've seen other teams that we play against not really get those calls, and I'm curious about it.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, got to call it for what it is, man.
Yeah,
guys.
It's just not mentally focused.
No, they're not,
and that's just not something that we're used to. So, it obviously doesn't sit well with people. And remember a while back where Kirby said pressure is a privilege. You remember he said that?
Yep.
That was his big talking point. And I think along the way, the people in the room have forgotten that. and now it's they're pointing fingers and they're reacting to us holding them accountable.
Yeah.
That is something that they had talked about, that they embraced. They embraced that pressure of being perfect, and now that we've become used to it and expect it, when we don't get it, we push back. Yeah,
I mean,
rah would have been. We could have used rah. Absolutely.
So right now, if I'm not mistaken, we are averaging 32.4 points per game.
Cool. That doesn't mean shit. We scored 50 or 60 against Tennessee Tech. So like,
no. What I'm saying is, based off of averages, people are going to be looking at that and attribute it to the sluggishness, if you will. I mean, it's a reflection at this point. But
I mean, I know I'm sounding like the most awful human right now, and I know I'm the Georgia fan that everybody hates right now. But I expect higher quality than what we're getting.
100%.
And it's not, I don't think that anybody here has questioned the talent. Like, none of us are like, well, we have a bunch of kids who suck. Nobody said that.
We ain't feeling like Florida State by means.
Because we don't believe that. I know I don't believe that, Keon. I want to speak for you, but I don't think you believe that either. I believe that the talent is insane. And I'm frustrated because the production isn't meeting the talent level. And we have become so accustomed to that. So I wanted to make that kind of clear, is that like we're not out here calling out kids because we don't think they're talented. We just would love to know what that deal is. And again,
we don't think they're focused. Let's say that we don't think they're focused.
And I think Jeff nailed exactly what we were trying to say. Is now in this NIL era, it's like they're focused on that almighty dollar, the Quan, the Quan, if you remember that movie. But yeah, I'm frustrated, and we're going to have another opportunity this coming week against Mississippi State where that should not be a game, right? So how does Georgia approach it? Is it like they're going to go out there and sleepwalk again because it shouldn't be a game, or are the fans going to go out there and sleepwalk? Or are the fans? But the one thing that you have to admit is that every time Kirby demands something, he gets it. Every time he's challenged the fans, he's getting it. It started at 93K Day.
It's also been it's also been in the big games too, when he challenges folks a lot too. This instance, I think, and he spoke about this. He got asked about it again at a press conference today, and to me, the takeaway was he's trying to incorporate everybody as one team, right? So it's kind of interesting, right? I see both sides. I see fans' perspective. Hey, we want to see this, right? But at the same time, they want us to, because we do make an impact. We've seen this time and time again. If you have a loud fan base, it creates the home field advantage that people talk about. If you're not loud, you don't have that extra. I hate Texas A&M, but the 12th man is a real thing. It's a real thing. So it's partially on us. It's partially on everybody to an extent. If we're holding people accountable, keep in mind homecoming crowds are never really that great. I think a lot of it too is, you're bringing back maybe older alumni, things like that. Maybe not the rowdy bunch. Also, guys, South Georgia, Western North Carolina got ravaged and just demolished by a hurricane not a week ago.
I think that's an excuse.
No, I'm just saying there's
those people aren't there.
What I mean by that is there's people that might have been able to get to that game that couldn't because there's other focuses. I know people down in South Georgia that make the trip, but if you ain't got water, you ain't got stuff like that.
Well, their seats weren't empty.
I'm just saying. I think it's a mixture of the homecoming crowd mixed in with the rowdy bunch, right? Because there's season ticket holders. There's season ticket holders that might have had to sell those tickets to fix their house or fix stuff, right? Well, so I'm trying to keep that but at the same time, I'm also going to hold people there accountable, because if you're there, you should be loud.
Well, I have for a long time been in the crosshairs of Georgia fans because I have said a million times, Georgia's not loud, and primarily because a lot of the people who have the prime tickets at UGA are what we call blue hairs, old people who sit down, don't ever get up. They're like 90 years old and they're not moving. Like, go to a Georgia game, look around at the premium seats. A lot of them have been season ticket holders since like the 1940s, and like they're still there. That's a problem. And then the other part is now that they're winning at such a high level, you need to, your main source of revenue is that the ticket, the ticket. So that price goes up, and now you have to donate so many points to the Hartman Fund to even be considered. And that number went way up. If you don't know, ask somebody who's been a long time season ticket holder. That Hartman Fund has gone up.
I can only fathom what it's going to look like next year with all the home games. So,
dude, we used to have season tickets. As soon as that Hartman ticket for that fund went up, we were like, no. Our tickets were in the under the
underhang.
No, the scoreboard. We were on that side. We only had two, but we can afford that.
But no, I mean, so obviously all that being said, I do think for what it's worth, Georgia comes away with a win, right? We can sit here and nitpick the win. A win's a win. It's against your rival, right? I do want to put that kind of positivity in it because there are some folks that might not have been that lucky, if you will. But no, in all seriousness, so I thought ETN, I want to ask y'all's player of the game. I feel like it might be obvious. It might be unanimous. Player of the game. I'm saying ETN. I don't even know if it's close. Actually, yes. I think there it is. I'm gonna say ETN, but if it's not named, I'll bring it back up.
Yeah, no, I like ETN for player of the game.
What about you, Dan? Do you have anybody else?
No,
or do you think
it's ETN?
I'm gonna give you honorable mention for this. TID.
What did he leave with? What, 2-3 sacks?
2. I think he could have had 3, but missed a sack, I believe. He could have had. I think he could have had multiple sacks. Looking at this though, TID being healthy, but he's making a lot of fucking money. A lot of money. A lot of money. Just saying. Same with Dan Jackson, by the way. Dan Jackson's playing.
All right.
We'll get on the show then.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this. I want to bring the how can I explain this? The steps to success, right? So the way I saw Georgia succeed here, the steps that they took to succeed and win this game, I felt like they controlled the line of scrimmage. I think they did. We were able. That was one of our better run game performances this season. It also helped that they were doing 2 high safeties, by the way. So there was lighter boxes like that, which opened up the run game, and I think ETN took advantage of that. Love it. At the same time, you created havoc plays when you needed to. Like you started off, like TID started off with the sack first play. And I don't know about y'all, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, this is about to be nasty. It's about to get nasty. But I felt like defense outside of a couple losses of edge contain, I thought they played fairly well, and I thought they pursued the ball fairly well too. We talked about this, but you've got to get guys on the ground early and first time. Because you're going to play teams like Tennessee later on down. You've got to tackle in space, and if you don't, it's going to be a long night. Even if it is in Sanford, I'm here to tell you, they predicate themselves on getting you in space and forcing you to get them to the ground. You've got to come ready to go. But that being said, yeah. Did y'all see anything before from a keys of success? What did Georgia do to win this game?
No, no.
Keon, any final thoughts before we move on to our final segment of the night?
If you Guys got to go out there and execute. Can't ask for something if you ain't getting it.
Fair point. Folks, from an Auburn game perspective, you heard our thoughts. Keon, it's time. It's time we bring up Saturday. Right? It's time we bring up Saturday. I'm gonna let you talk it a little bit.
We got to take some teams to trial. We're going to start case of Missouri getting Aggied, right? Getting giggamed.
Got gigged.
Got gigged. Them boys got gigged. Gotta say, let's go ahead and hear from the defense for the Mizzou Tigers.
Oh, Robert, go ahead and try to defend them.
The defense rests. We're shit. The defense rests.
All right, so I'm going to start this by saying, Missouri, you cost me a lot of money. We're going to start there. And then second of all, they have been teetering on the brink of getting beat all season long. They didn't show up with a running game. They didn't show up with a passing game. They didn't show up with any type of freaking game. And they got absolutely just punched in the mouth from the very beginning. They were never in the game. They were ranked number 9, and they lost to a number 22 team, and it looked like they didn't belong in the game. It honestly looked like they were unranked, like a 2-win team. It was awful. At no point during the game did it feel like Missouri was ever in the game, and I like Missouri, but God almighty, I hate Texas A&M, and Texas A&M beat the hell out of you.
Yeah.
I know, Jeff.
The defense.
I got points.
The defense rests.
Well, in case of Missouri Tigers, we find you trash. Gone. And you have to deal with that.
Moving on to the next case.
Michigan. Let's go ahead and get that one going. We'll hear from the defense first.
I'll defend Michigan. I think the case for Michigan is that they have to overcome probably more loss than any other school in the country this year. It's not their fault that the expectations are as high as they are, but they have a brand new coach that they're trying to break in. He's the first-time head coach. Yes, I do know that he filled in a couple games last season. They lost their quarterback. They lost their running back. They lost their receivers. They had 22 seniors on that football team that played. 22 seniors that played, and they are replacing more than any other team in the country. So I think even the Michigan fans know that they're not going to be good this year, but they're not trash.
I'm here to tell you, as a prosecution, you have no quarterback whatsoever. Orgy is not the answer.
Orgy's
you
trash.
have no quarterbacks capable of leading this offense, and you're even a run-heavy team, and you still can't run the ball effectively. You've lost too much to think that you can handle the big boys in the Big Ten. I'm just going to let it be known. You have Will Johnson at cornerback, but that is not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. I'm telling you right now, your ineptitude to pass the ball effectively is going to cost Michigan multiple games more this season. I feel as if this is a trash team that got overrated from the get-go. But Judge, I rest my case.
Well, to the boys in maize and blue, the Michigan Wolverines. Tried to tell the fan base before the season started what Wink Martindale loves to do. What he loves to do is put his DBs, his corners, on islands. I got a whole bunch of arguments. Oh, and I also told them they love what Wink Martindale loves to do. He likes to take the fattest person on that defensive line and drop him back in coverage. I saw it with my New York Football Giants. He dropped Dexter Lawrence, big ass, into coverage. Who was he supposed to be covering? The only thing Dexter Lawrence can cover is all sides of a pizza and a donut. Okay?
God almighty.
Okay. No way. The only spreads he knows that covers come with knives. Okay? Michigan Wolverines. The verdict is in. And you have to deal with that.
All
Tennessee
right, for the next
Volunteers. Tennessee Volunteers.
Which one do you want?
We'll hear from the defense.
I guess I'll try to defend Tennessee.
Wait. Sorry, misread it. USC Trojans. Well, and then we'll get to Tennessee. I'm sorry.
Save it to see. I'll defend USC.
Oh, okay.
I'll try my best. As the defense, I do think that USC got missed. You know, the travel time, folks. The travel time must be a factor in this. It must be a factor. We are fixing our defense, right? First year defensive coordinator. We have shown strides of improvement. There are some inefficiencies. However, I do think that moving forward, we should not be looked as trash because our offensive capabilities will get us into games that should help us out. I expect our defense to fix some issues to help us win the games. And it's starting up front. We're recruiting, might I add, too. We're getting better players on defense. It's going to take time with year one as a new DC. However, you cannot argue that we have gotten better this year compared to last, and it's leaps and bounds better. The defense rests.
Well, the prosecution
Sustained. Yeah, they're committing, but they're not signing there. Go on ahead, prosecutor.
Yeah, so here's the problem. You went out and you paid high dollar for who everybody was led to believe was the best young coach in America, which is Lincoln Riley. Since going to USC, he has done nothing to warrant that contract that he got. He is not recruiting into the level that you would anticipate somebody with his youth and charisma to recruit to. You had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback follow you out there to USC, and you could not win with him. You have not developed another quarterback, and you were supposed to be the Heisman Trophy quarterback whisperer. You are known for your offenses, and your offenses are not scoring points. Yes, your defense may be a work in progress, but your offense is not carrying the day, and your head coach is not delivering on the promises that he once made. Your team is trash, sir.
I object, Your Honor. Our team is not trash. We don't have Bear Alexander anymore.
Overruled. You never had Bear Alexander when he got there. So here's the thing, right? I find USC to be trash. And you have to deal with that. Now it's time y'all bring them orange mutts on in here. Y'all bring them orange mutts on in here. Let's get this over with. We got the dog pound on standby. Okay. Case for Tennessee. We'll hear from the defense.
They have a freshman quarterback, sir, and the defense rests.
Well, with that being said, your offense got banged up, and you let Taylor Green get off on you before you tried to take out Taylor Green, and you did. Hopefully not for long, by the way. The dirtiest play of the weekend happened. Your defensive line sat there. Bitch move, by the way. Took out Taylor Green. I thought he broke his leg. And then you proceeded to lose to Malachi Singleton. You deserve this. And Nico Iamaleava, you look like Reggie Ball on fourth down, sir.
God damn.
I rest my case.
Bro.
Yep. Well, gotta say, I mean, at the beginning there, it looked like Busy Bone Jr. or Nico, however y'all want to call him. It looked like he did have a good start. Then shit, of course, did go left. Do agree that play on Taylor Green, absolutely dirty, but that's Tennessee. We're not surprised. My overall verdict, overall feeling, emotion, fact, thought process, and reality about the Tennessee Volunteers. And you have to deal with that. Congratulations, Tennessee. Congratulations, Tennessee. Your ass got porked. All right. Now, we're on to the final case of the day. We're going to need some of y'all to clear out because ain't no fucking way we finna fit this elephant in here somehow. Go ahead and grab those two tables and just
push them together.
Matter of fact, just put them up against the wall. We'll figure it out. Somebody bring Dumbo ass on in here. All right. Case of the Alabama Crimson Tide. We're gonna hear from the defense.
Ryan Williams is only 17, Your Honor. Malachi Moore is a very passionate player. And I just want to let you know that I think we might make a move moving forward to not play as much man coverage on defense. Jalen Milroe is still a dominant quarterback, by the way. The pick six was a fluke. We are an extremely explosive team on offense. I do think that we can do better by getting Jam and Justice Haynes more runs. And honestly, our defense, we do need to be better on third downs. However, I love the fact that we can get after the quarterback and we can force turnovers, as we saw what happened with Georgia.
Well, the prosecution would like to point out that you played the best game you could possibly play this year against University of Georgia. And then your coach, your former coach, the icon, went on television and said the only easy place to play in the SEC is Vanderbilt. And then you walk into Vanderbilt, and at no point were you in control of that football game. It wasn't a fluke. They didn't get lucky. They won the football game. They led the football game. They took it to you. Okay? So you walked into an environment and expected to win and didn't think you would have to compete. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, sir, that when you go into Vanderbilt, you're going to have to party, okay? Because Las Vegas came alive. They're ready to roll.
Objection, Your Honor. Prosecution is getting too rambunctious. I think he could carry the goalpost himself too much.
Overruled. Keep going, Dan.
When you come to Las Vegas, baby, you better be ready to party. In Alabama, you found out the hard way, and anchor down.
Objection, Your Honor. That's strictly hearsay. Tuscaloosa, we do it right.
Objection has been sustained. Okay. All right. I saw them drop that anchor off into that Dumbo ass for 4 quarters. Okay.
Yeah. Anchor down.
In that ass, from what it looked like. All right. I had so many things to say about this one. So first, we as a Bulldog community, after we lost Alabama, we had to stand in the paint,
Yes,
right? We had to stand in the paint for 7 days and for 7 nights, and for 7 days and for 7 nights, we heard how great Ryan Williams was, how bad our team was, how undisciplined we looked, and how, oh my God, Ryan Williams is only 17,
yes, sir.
which in the state of Alabama, okay, he's been an adult now for the past 3 years. So I don't understand. But nevertheless, it's just mind-boggling. I've told y'all before that we are this team's Super Bowl, and you're seeing it. The whole fan base acted like they won the national championship after they beat us. And as soon as they did, boy, they arched that back like Michael Irvin for Vandy, didn't it? For all 4 quarters. Jesus. And you know what's the craziest thing about all of this? Bama fans wanted to talk so much shit to Tennessee fans and immediately realized they couldn't. Because you lost to the little sister of Tennessee.
Yes, you did.
I plead the fifth.
You really should be ashamed. Well, gotta say it.
Listen, and my star witness is legend. Okay, he went on the Paul Feinbaum show today and said, "This is the equivalent of coming home and finding your wife in bed with your neighbor." Okay, you may take her back, you may keep her, but you're never going to trust her again. God Almighty, we don't lose to. You know?
I have a special. I need special guest Roll Tide Willie by myself, please. Thank you, Your Honor.
I mean, Roll Tide Willie is probably somewhere about drunk as all get out. So, shout outs to Diego Pavia, right? Pavia. Also, Hispanic Heritage Month. So, shout outs to all the Hispanics tuning into the podcast. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Anchor down for the Vandy fans. Holy shit. But we find Alabama, your team, and you have to deal with that. Y'all get out of my courtroom. I'm going to go home and watch Paul Feinbaum.
That is all of the cases for today. That is all we have for today's cases, Judge Keon.
Yeah.
And this has been Keon's Court. Boy, Saturday was interesting, wasn't it, gentlemen?
100%.
Also, you could. Miami was a couple missed penalties away from being on this list. I think they may have been charged for the crime.
All right, so I didn't even know that was coming, so I will be better prepared next time.
Hey man, say man. We're gonna be holding Keon's Court every week because as the season goes on, there's gonna be more teams that's gonna need to be on there. So y'all stay tuned. Y'all let me know if y'all like that segment, and if so,
please let us know, because if it's like, just let us know. This is simple enough. Let us know if you think it's corny. Let us know. Hell, criticism. We can take criticism.
But Rob, you have anything else you wanted to add to the pod tonight, my boy?
I hope everybody understands. We can sit here and we can bitch and we can complain about the issues that Georgia might have, but we were a survivor. The top 10 was struggle bussing Saturday, folks. Enjoy the win, right? I think at this point, any win is a good win at this point, because anything can happen.
Right.
Anything.
Right.
Hey, did we get how did we do on the over-unders, Jeff? Dan went 3-2. Look, Dan's just always in the fucking lead. That's all I know.
No, motherfucker, I went 4-1 last week. Calm down.
Whoa, Dan went 3-2. Robert went 2-3.
Versus Auburn, versus Bama, I was 4-1.
Okay, well, I didn't participate. I probably would have been like 9-0. I don't even know.
Damn. Yeah, no, other than that,
I gotta hang my hat on something.
Yeah.
Fair point.
You got
yeah, fair point. We'll go through picks later in the week. Recap this week's picks later in the week on the next episode. Harrison Sand to fade Keon. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Look, Harrison got this for me, and I haven't put it up yet. I'm a horrible friend. The man got me a friggin' helmet, and I ain't put it up yet.
People, let me tell you about my best friend.
Sorry, Harrison. I'm gonna get it up there.
Yeah, Harrison, show up to the podcast next week when we do the final tally of the picks, and you let me know, because I'll let you know I quickly sunk to the bottom, but I ain't there no more. Okay, we're not there no more. Okay,
so you didn't anchor down, is what you're saying?
No, we didn't. No,
you trying to tell me you had a really good week? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Possibly.
All right.
Well,
I don't think I did. I think I had a shitty week, and I think I just let everybody catch me.
One we'll find out next week.
Yeah.
All right.
I will say this: the wise man. Hold on. Before we're going to end this on a preview of next episode. By the way, the wise one has been defeated. He is no longer perfect. However, Keon, old buddy, did some best bets. By the way, 2 best bets, cashed out that parlay.
Oh yeah.
For anybody that paid attention to that, cashed out. Just hot hands at the dice game, baby. Just clackety, 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 clack. The verdict is in. This podcast is over. With that being said, make sure to do us a favor, folks. The show is brought to you by our friends over at Alumni Hall. Do not forget about Alumni Hall, folks. Get yourself geared up for game day by going to Athens, Georgia, going in there, get you a nice cart of stuff, mention the show, and get 10% off. But if you can't make it to the store, go to our website, dgdpodcast.com. Get yourself a cart online, and when you use our website to go through there and order, 8% goes to the Classic City Collective. Also, guys, we switched over from Patreon. Go to Fourth Wall. The link is in the description below. You're getting some content.
And you could get merch. Dogs on top. Fuck the op shirts are out. Go ahead and cop one. Get one. You get one. You get one. You get one. You get one. Okay. Go there or be square and die with no hairs.
I see what you did there. That's all we got for the night, guys. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, rate, and review, whether you're listening or you're watching. That does a ton for the show, and it's all free. It's all free. But with that being said, I'm Robert. That's Dan and Keon. We'll catch y'all next time to talk some Mississippi State, the Battle of them Bulldogs. Catch y'all next time.